Ah, Thanksgiving. A perfect piece of Americana. Families from all over the country come together to spend quality time together. Or, quickly descend into drunken political rants that no one is wanting. Yeah. But one of the driving questions of the holiday has been, for the longest time, how do the dads celebrate? What about the dads? Luckily for you, in today's episode of Tyler Talks, I will be answering that question and much more by looking into the photography of Chris Maggio. Chris Maggio is a photographer based out of New York, whose work I've just been completely enamored by. And today I just wanted to bring up 3 photo sets of his that I just love. Male Chef, Dad's Giving, and Parking Under the Mistletoe. All 3 of these photo sets, I believe, bring this vibe, this feeling of unease, but that I just love. With near constant illumination, abnormal settings, and just the main subjects he has in his photography, these collections all just blend together to this perfect pudding of off-putting vibes that scratch an itch for me that no other photographer so far has been able to. Dad's Giving is probably Chris Maggio's most famous work, and as such we are going to be starting there. The photo set was created in 2013 as a commission for the Food Republic magazine. The dads in these photos are all gathered together in a completely undecorated room, besides just some straw bales strewn about. The most famous photo out of this set, as you can see next to me, is this. The dads are all lined up together, waiting excitedly to grab some scrumdiddlyumptious food from the table in front of them. This photo, as well as many others, would soon be seen as foundational images for what would later become known as cursed images. The off-putting vibe and just the strange atmosphere of these photos perfectly cement what such a cursed image is, or even a liminal space, with the setting being an abstract basement with nothing but straw in it. But even while that is the most famous photo out of the set, it isn't my favorite. This one is, and you can see it right now. The dads are all together, enjoying their meal, sitting on piles of hay. It's just a joyful image. The dads are all together, bonding, creating new friendships, and strengthening old ones. You just can't not love it. It brings joy and amazement that even in their age, they can still make new friends and keep their old friendships together. Maybe it's a lesson some of us can use in the future. But Dad's Giving, since it's Thanksgiving, features a lot of images of food. And they are really disgusting. But since there's so many of them, and I can't go over each of them, I have this rotating cube next to me to display some for you guys. You can see throughout this whole set, there's just this absence of lighting. Everything is fully illuminated, which helps increase the feeling of unease and discomfort with what we're seeing, and making everything feel just plain awkward. But the Dad's Giving photo set, despite that, is just truly wonderful. In a way, it's almost ahead of its time, being a foundational set that for cursed images, liminal spaces. All of the these trends would come well after 2013 and the end of the 2010s, beginning of the 2020s. Next up, with the theme of disgusting food, is just Male Chef. Also created on 2013 on the Male Chef Tumblr page, which would later become Chris Maggio's personal blog. Male Chef has this lo-fi starkness to it that is just extremely endearing. It reminds me of just a lot of amateurish food photography I've seen while browsing the internet. And it just exists as this anti-food porn in a way. The overuse of a top-down angle, the overuse of flash, and just this... The food itself just looks strange, as you've been able to see. I've been showcasing some of my favorites from the collection. It all together just makes these really gross images that just I adore. Male Chef is extremely endearing because it's just Maggio, some props, and a camera, unlike Dad's Giving, for example, which had a full team behind it to do lighting, you know, your cast of characters and all of that. With this, it's just Maggio, and it still brings the same vibe that Dad's Giving had, which is just really wonderful. And for what it is, I felt like I had to include Male Chef. It would just be cruel not to include it. But now that Thanksgiving is over, the Christmas season starts, and we can see Maggio's work transition from November to December with Parking Under the Mistletoe. This is more different than what I've shown so far. It doesn't really, it's, you know, instead of it being, you know, food related and more Thanksgiving themed, it's Christmas themed in a parking lot garage. But this photo set still falls into similar feelings that you get when looking at Male Chef and Dad's Giving. The complete absence of lighting helps in this regard. It makes the entire thing feel more amateurish and lo-fi, while also still looking professional. Maggio is really good at creating this amateurish yet professional feel to his work. And there's the absence of lighting helps create these feelings of unease and just awkwardness that I love. And the setting of a parking garage too creates this borderline liminal feeling. All this decoration and all of this setup in a place that you usually wouldn't notice it. When you're usually in a parking garage, you're just in and out. You park your car, you leave, you come back, you drive out. You wouldn't really notice any of the decorations that the employees of the parking lot would have put up. It just wouldn't be something you would care or notice about. And I feel like it gives you a feeling of smelling the roses in a way. You know, you're taking the time to actually look in this parking lot and actually see the little details you wouldn't have noticed before. And my favorite photo in this album really showcases that. You have this office here, and it's right next to this aisle of parked cars. The Christmas tree itself is fully decorated right next to all these cars. It can easily be toppled over by one bad driver. And you have this heat lamp right over this ancient computer monitor with all these microphones and just other requirements that the parking lot employees need. They need all this stuff. And then the chair. The chair looks like it's just a bunch of sheet metal put together, maybe a cushions on it. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't look like a chair that should be there. You know, you would expect more of a rolling office chair to go there. And I feel like just the location, vibe it just creates this really interesting feeling. Like, this office space shouldn't be there. You would expect it to be more in a closed off room instead of just being completely out in the open where anyone could access it, you know. The cars are just right next to it, just behind this little wall. And that's what I love about it. It creates this really feeling of this shouldn't be there, this feels off. And that's really the whole vibe of parking on the mistletoe. Things just feel like they shouldn't be there, and it feels off. The way Matt was able to create these feelings of unease and awkwardness by using lighting and set design really just is impressive, and that's a major part as to why I've been completely enamored by his work. But the Christmas season is coming to an end, and let's cheer out a bit. This is the end of my little deep dive into Chris Maggio's work. Male Chef, Dad's Giving, and Parking Under the Mistletoe all just have this very lo-fi bare bones feel to them. They feel amateurish, yet also extremely professional. They feel awkward and uneasy. The way Maggio was able to do this is amazing with his set design, his use of props and characters. And while Male Chef and Dad's Giving heavily rely on awkward, disgusting food, Parking on the Mistletoe gets a similar feeling just by how Maggio's able to use lighting and set design to create these feelings of unease and awkwardness. It's just the way he's able to use the environment to make the viewer feel unease, awkwardness, or just plain interest in the photos in each of these sets is just stunning. But with that out of the way, I don't really have anything left for you guys. I hope you guys take it easy and have a good one. I'll see you next time.